Hello, my name is Sharon Marie Chester. I am a licensed clinical social worker and a Black Lives Matter activist. And I have a paragraph I'd like to read from a book written by a friend of mine named Dier. He's a historian and a teacher at the Chalmette High School. He teaches history, and he's written this book, which is a part of the new move to basically expose racial truth and advance racial literacy. In that, he talked about the violence that erupted as a result of emancipation. And I'd like to read a paragraph of something that happened here in St Bernard Parish in 1868. St Bernard Parish is notoriously racist, which is why I moved here. This is where anti-racist fighters belong, in the trenches. I'm very proud of my truth-speaking friend. And from there, let me say, the violence the freed people experienced in St. Bernard Parish was felt in other regions in Louisiana. St. Landry Parish, the Seymour Knights, and the Knights of the White Camellia, white supremacist organizations, pursued their victims through the swamps and forests and killed freed people indiscriminately for 3 gruesome days. Prior to the 1868 presidential election, at least 150 were murdered here. Around Shreveport, in Bossier and Cato parishes, armed mobs committed similar crimes. Witnesses testified of seeing dozens of dead bodies floating down the Red River. Fatalities are estimated at around 200. The carnage was statewide. State officials attempting to ascertain the fatalities of that year reported 784 freed people murdered and 450 wounded. But a subsequent federal report estimated the number killed at over 1,000. The terror succeeded in its goal of voter suppression. How many more? How many more are there whose names we will never know? There are tributaries of blood that are merging together. The blood of black bodies spilled in these cane fields. The blood of black bodies spilled in these swamps. We got so accustomed to the blood of black bodies dripping down tree branches that we don't even notice it running down our streets. We have tributaries of blood, the blood of black bodies flowing in our streets. How many names that will never be known? But the truth is a far greater thing than the absence of a lie. Like a body improperly buried, truth will rise to the surface and get caught up in this riptide. These tributaries of blood are merging together. If the stench of that truth is too harsh on your delicate nostrils, that is not my problem. Because the truth is a far greater thing than the absence of a lie. I can no longer be the kind of person I once was, knowing that someone's child bled out today, waiting for white America to be coddled into its racial upbringing. No, the practice of human trafficking was not my idea, but it was the currency used to bankroll the higher quality of life of being identified white. Just because it wasn't my idea does not give me a free pass out of owning that much or allowing these inequities to continue. Knowing St Bernard Parish as well as he does, my friend, the black Latino, asked me, "You're a white woman. Why in God's name would a highly educated white woman, the untouchable embodiment of virtue, turn her back on a protected, comfortable life on a pedestal to jump into this bloody fight in the darkest dungeons of racism?" The answer is this: because those alleged virtues of those alleged icons sitting on those alleged pedestals have served as an excuse to kill black men long enough. Because we as white women, we must know that we are dressed in bloodied skirts. And we've been used as a cover for white men in power for too long. There was a time when we threw our black sisters under the wheel, even as they suckled our babes. Where do we belong? This is where I belong. Because the truth is a far greater thing than the absence of a lie. And because much is required of the person to whom was handed the stolen goods. You know, Moses stood on the truth on the shores of the Red Sea, when the floodgates of hell unleashed those tributaries that merged together. And now I stand with them, with my kin of color, on the high ground of truth, strong against these tributaries of blood. And I will not stand down. Thank you. Carry on.